took a good look around. There's stuff to be learned, body to be turned, it seems. Yes, there is.
There we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TK Live for Wednesday, July the 6th. Matthew and I are back out here in the garage, and we have lots of truck news for you guys today.
It's been a busy couple weeks.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on. We haven't been doing this now. I think it's been 3 weeks since we've been on, too, because we've been real busy shooting all kinds of videos.
We were a lot more consistent in the winter. In summer, we're busy.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Right? We got all kinds of stuff going on. So, first of all, what is TK Live? We like to come on here. We try to come on every other week, and we like to cover all the truck news that's going on in the world. And then we like to talk about what we're up to here on the channel. And then, of course, we want to hear from you guys. We want to interact, so jump into the chat. If you want to send us an email, you can get us at hey, that's H-E-Y, at trucking.ca. Send us an email, ask us a truck buying question, ask us a video question, ask us whatever you want. And right now, jump into the comments and go ahead and put whatever questions you got. We're happy to try to answer them. We're also happy if you can throw us a couple bucks. There is a donation button. These videos have gotten more expensive over the past couple months because gas prices are going insane.
Insane.
So yeah, you know what? If you can toss us a couple bucks, it goes a long way. If not, fear not. This is a free show, so just sit back and enjoy. So again, Matt, we got lots of truck news, and why don't we start with the Nissan Titan. So for all my Canadians out there, you guys already know, the Titan has already been discontinued in Canada. Well, Matt, now we got a report from Automotive News that is confirming that the Titan is going to go away in the United States. Now, Nissan did respond, and basically they said, oh, wait a second, it's not going away today, and it's probably not going away for a model year or two, but they wouldn't go as far to say, yes, there'll be a next generation. So I think basically reading between the lines, 2024 is going to be our last year of Titan in the U.S. Could even be 23, but I think maybe they'll stretch it a little bit.
I mean, are you shocked? I mean,
No.
They killed it in Canada. Yeah, we're the smaller market. It was inevitable, but it was just coming. And I mean, I think the little bit of subtext I took from when I read that release too is maybe the R&D dollars are focusing on an alternative product.
Totally.
Maybe I'm reading into that, but I was kind of like, maybe they're just going to either maybe push Frontier in a different direction or bring out something new, try something new.
Well,
doesn't seem very Nissan-ish, but...
Well, you know what? They're doing what everyone else is doing, right? They're pivoting to electric. So that'll be the question.
Or a hybrid at the very least.
Is whether there'll be an electric or a hybrid. I don't think it would be a half ton. Even if they do it, I feel like it would only be a mid-sizer.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing you brought up Frontier, because the next thing we're going to get to in just a couple minutes are truck sales, and Frontier's actually doing really good. So Nissan wouldn't touch Frontier. But just back to Titan, we struggle with this because we've tested a lot of Titans here on the channel. The Titan is a good truck. It's not like we always tested it and said, oof, why are they even selling this pile of junk?
I looked to buy one. The XD platform with the Cummins, I was looking to buy one for a while. I like that truck.
So there was a lot of good things about it. I think the downfall of the Titan, I mean, there's a couple reasons. First of all, fuel efficiency. Someone mentioned this actually in our comments. None of the Titans were ever that fuel efficient, even that diesel. Like, I was really hopeful that big diesel would be fuel efficient and powerful, but it sucked down fuel. The next thing, too, with the current generation Titan, it didn't do much to set itself apart, right? It didn't do one thing that was like, whoa, that's a cool feature I can only get at Nissan. And so because of that, if you don't have a Ford badge on the hood, which kind of helps to sell trucks, you have to do a little bit more than the other guys, and Nissan didn't do that this time around. And then the last thing, which I'm not sure a lot of people talk about, but I do believe, is dealerships. Nissan dealerships, they're not really used to selling trucks. They're used to selling Sentras and Maximas. And anyone who's purchased a truck at a dealership, it's a different buying experience. Truck buyers are super knowledgeable. Generally, you have a really specific set of jobs you want to do. And so I always kind of got the sense that Nissan dealerships just didn't know how to sell Titans.
Didn't push. I mean, Frontiers sold themselves for so long because they were affordable, they were reliable, they've been around forever, everybody knew them. They didn't need to make a name for themselves because they were already out there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that you said, Ford badges on the hood sell trucks, because I think it's time to jump into some numbers here because the numbers suggest that maybe wasn't the brand to quote.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So yeah, I mean, but that is it on the Nissan front. You guys can let us know what you think about the Titan over in the comments. But yeah, pour one out for the Titan. It's always a sad day when we lose the truck, even if maybe it did deserve to go away. And yeah, like Matthew was saying, let's jump into pickup truck sales because we're halfway through the year. We are 6 months through 2022, believe it or not. Wow. So we have first half sales, midsize and half ton. And the Ford F-Series, Matt, is not doing so well. In the first half of 2022, it's actually down 17%. So, yes, you're absolutely right that Ford is not killing it. Now, to be fair, the Silverado is down 10%, Ram is down 21%, Sierra is down 14%. Everyone is down across the board.
And I think that all correlates with fuel prices.
Maybe that
Fuel
does make a lot of sense.
Truck sales.
And still some shortages. It's always hard to say how much the chip shortage play into that. One brand is up, though, Toyota with the Tundra, which you'd hope because it's a brand new truck. However, even Toyota's only up 1% in the first half of 2022. So I don't know if they're probably thrilled about that. Although Toyota with the Tundra is usually pretty steady Eddie with their sales. So at least they didn't lose, right? They're maintaining.
Yeah.
And then the other kind of big news story there is everyone's down. But through the first half, General Motors combined, so that's Silverado and Sierra combined, they've outsold F-Series. So that happened last year. If you combine the nameplates, GM outsold Ford, and that's happening again this year. So we'll have to wait and see by the end of the year.
By nearly 100,000 units, too.
Yeah, it's quite a few trucks. So GM's doing okay, and yeah, Ford on the F-Series front is not doing great. And, you know, as the F-Series goes, Ford goes, right? It's such an important product for them. So we'll have to see if the second half is better. I feel like just because there's going to be more production and more trucks coming off the line and available, second half is going to tick back up a little bit. But we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, and I should preface this. Maybe you guys figured it out. These are all U.S. sales. Canadians, for whatever reason, the Canadian automakers don't all report really timely. So all of the numbers weren't in yet for Canada, so I didn't even pull them. Right now, we're just dealing with the U.S. automakers.
Those are fun stats, kind of crawling in at the bottom. Forgive me, this is the first time I've actually seen this chart.
Sure, read them out.
Steve printed it out here. So yeah, we're used to seeing this chart, and I know you're not going to see it there, but at the bottom here, it bottoms out with the Nissan Titan, as we just discussed. But then below that, we have 3 new trucks on this list. We have the F-150 Lightning, we have the Rivian R1T, and the GMC Hummer EV. And respectively, going in that same order, we sold 2,200, 1,600, and 300 units. I mean, it's just great to see on there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're nowhere near what we're selling as far as gassers go, but they're coming.
Yeah,
they're coming on.
And I mean, for F-Series Lightning, I doubt that's a full year of sales. Like, they haven't been on lots since January, you know what I mean? Whereas R1T was maybe that's about a full, proper 6 months.
Yeah.
And then the Hummer EV, that is a proper 6 months.
And they're just pre-sales, I think, still.
But that's only 372 units.
Yeah,
so that Hummer is...
It's dismal.
it's expensive. It's so expensive.
It's a flagship. It's flexing their muscles. It's not gonna do well.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how many. But yeah, like you said, F-150 Lightning is $2,296. Yeah, I mean, I expect that thing to sell really well, especially off the hop, and then we'll see how long it sustains.
It's in the hunt to outsell the Titan this year already.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way based on these numbers.
Yeah, that doesn't look great for Nissan. Okay, so let's jump up to mid-size trucks now, and mid-size trucks is not the same story, actually. Mid-size trucks are actually mostly going up. Now, the Tacoma sales leader is actually down 22%.
Wow.
But fear not, the Tacoma is actually able to drop 22% and still outsell the next closest truck by 50,000 units. The Tacoma owns the midsize market. It's unbelievable. There's also a new Tacoma coming, so I wonder if some of this isn't people maybe just holding back and waiting for the next model year. But yeah, through the first half of 2022, they've moved 108,000 Tacomas. The next truck on the list is the Chevy Colorado. They've moved 44,000 Colorados. That's up 13%. Nissan Frontier, and this one Nissan's got to be happy about. The Frontier is up 63%.
Wow.
They've moved 43,000 trucks. So now we're finally seeing the effect of that brand new Frontier. And obviously Nissan, like I said, has got to be happy.
People were sleeping on that one for a long time.
Well, and here's the two interesting ones here. The Gladiator and the Ranger. Jeep Gladiator's down 20%. Ranger's down 42%. So once again, pretty unbelievable big hit that Ford has been taking there. Ridgeline's down 18, and then the Canyon's also up 9%. So yeah, Ford and Jeep, those are the ones that jump out of the midsize segment at us.
Yeah, it's shocking that their percentage change is the same as Toyota, but Toyota still managed to outpace everybody just that much more.
Yeah, that's it. In half tons, the sales, it really is a race, right? GM and Ford have been going back and forth.
Wow.
Ram's really kind of squirreling their way in there. In midsizers, it's not a race. Toyota's first, and then it's a race to see who's second, right? That's just always the way it is. And it's an exciting year for midsize trucks too, Matt, because hopefully for 2023, we're going to be getting Tacoma, Colorado, and Canyon. All brand new midsizers. That's awesome. And again, on that note, we have some news to share. General Motors has actually teased its new Colorado. Now, it's going to reveal the ZR2 first. So we're going to see the off-road version of the truck, and then we'll get the whole thing. And actually, right now, I'm going to go ahead and roll a little video clip. This is what General Motors revealed to us.
Last week they rolled this out as a teaser, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can make it play.
There's a fair bit of info to be garnered from such a short video, too, as far as what the thing is going to be and what it's going to look like.
So you saw right there at the end, too. It's coming this month, July 28th.
Yep,
so we're going to
we'll
see it by the end of the month. It looks cool. It's really got a crazy angular front end. You saw some of the accessories there. The one they talked about, I believe they call it the bush bars
on
right
the
up
front there, yeah. And I also, I'd have to roll it again and look, but I'm pretty sure I saw the flow tie.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
right
yeah.
off the hop suggests the ZR2 is coming right away with the new model.
Yeah,
which is great.
Which is good, exactly. Well, the fact that they're revealing it first, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get it, and we don't have to wait for the cool off-roader.
Yeah.
The other thing, which is basically confirmed, I think it's not out there yet from GM, but most people think that the truck is going to use the 2.7-liter turbocharged four-cylinder that's in the half tons, and they're going to put it into these mid-sizers. That makes a lot of sense, and that also helps to explain a flow tie because you want some more air in there to make sure you're cool in those turbos.
And that motor is, when we just drove that one last week, and that motor in the half ton is pretty awesome. So I can only imagine you shave the weight, put it in a smaller package, it's going to be that much more effective.
Yeah, exactly.
In that package.
Exactly, and of course everyone's going downsize, turbocharged. It helps you save fuel. I think the question will be, what's the other engine in the Colorado Canyon? Will the diesel stick around? Will there be a hybrid surprise or anything like that? I don't know what else really to expect, but it's exciting. There's no doubt.
The hybrid option seems like the obvious one, I think. Obviously, we have no information until the end of the month, but they have the power plants. They exist in other vehicles. It wouldn't be that much more engineering to put it in that truck.
Yeah.
And that's the way everything's going, so why not? The same as Ford did with the Maverick, just drop it in there. Even, heck, Ford made it a base model engine. So let's just do it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I hope it goes, and I hope Toyota does too, right? When that Tacoma shows up, I really hope they also go hybrid. They did it in the Tundra, so it makes sense in the Tacoma. I would love a plug-in hybrid mid-sized truck, but I'm not sure anyone's going to go there.
Earlier this year, Toyota did talk about an EV FJ and Tacoma.
That they did,
So that might also be lumped in with the launch of the 23.
Yeah, that would be cool too, right? If they roll out the full electric version next to the gas version.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. But lots of things going on in mid-sized trucks, and a lot of people buying mid-sized trucks, unlike half tons. So that's almost it for the news. We do have one last piece of truck news. I see all kinds of comments in there, guys. I appreciate you guys talking. Keep on talking amongst yourselves. Ask us what you want.
We will get to you guys. Please ask us whatever you want, and I will scroll back through, and we will do our best to get to everybody's questions.
So we'll cover the last piece of news right now, Matt. This is celebrating 75 years of F-Series trucks. Ford is introducing the 2023 F-150 Heritage Edition. Take a look at it. Whoops. Like so. There it is. So basically what the Heritage Edition is it's a two-tone package. It's all about styling. It's really not about much else. You can apply this package onto XLT trucks. I'm going to read this bit. It says, the design represents a fresh interpretation of the classic ABA exterior paint pattern. So the one you're looking at here is a race red midsection with upper and lower carbonized gray. I do think it looks sharp. Looks nice putting that boat into the lake. And then here I'll roll this one out. That's the entire lineup. We have Atlas Blue, Antimatter Blue, Avalanche, and Area 51. Now on the interior, you're getting slate gray and black upgrades. You're getting distinct trim features and then an embossed 75-year logo on your seats. So once again, a nice little package that's mostly about the way the trucks look. And please let us know what you think. But yeah, I think they look sharp. I love a two-tone truck.
I always loved the two-tone, and I was sad when they went away.
Yeah, exactly, right? It was a classic look, and anyone who has ever seen our dad's 1971 Chevy, he's got the great two-tone on his old Chev, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a nice-looking package of trucks, and why not celebrate 75 years of old Fords, right?
I like the comment we just got. To celebrate 75 years, we raised the price to $75K. Thanks, Ford. There's actually a lot of chat going on tonight about vehicle prices, and I have an interesting chat on that, but we'll get to that once we're done here.
Sure. Well, actually, no, that was it, man. That's our last piece of news.
Okay.
We talked about our the Chevy teaser. The one thing maybe I didn't mention when we talked Chevrolet, so we'll backtrack, is that they teased the Colorado, which is exciting. They've also already teased a Silverado ZR2 Bison. So the Bison is the package that AEV puts together. That's American Expedition Vehicles. It's basically armoring. Like, that's the most important part of it, is they put tons of skid plates underneath the ZR2. We recently had a ZR2. Go check out our full review on it, because one of the new things we love to do on the channel is we put trucks up onto our big truck ramp, and then I'm able to show you underneath. And Matt, the ZR2, it's only okay how armored it is. One nice skid plate in the front, a TK skid plate, and that's about it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a letdown. I mean, especially considering, when you calculate a breakover angle with your peak in the middle, right? That is the point. That's the lowest point in that frame. And in our case, that was where the gas tank is.
Yeah.
At least the first 6 inches of it. And there was nothing there.
I was surprised no skid plate on the gas tank.
Now, would you probably rub the drive shaft first or the rock rail first? Yes, but you get that one wrong hump, bump, rock, stump, and
stick.
Yeah, you're not going to have a good day.
Yeah.
For the type of package it is, it seemed a little lackluster.
Fair enough.
Like,
yeah,
I would say.
the gas tank was the one thing to me that I was a little surprised at. So, yeah, good to know that there is a new Bison coming on the Silverado. And that truck is really good, and it's only a good thing that they're going to make it better. So
Yeah.
So,
All
yeah.
right. So, let's scroll back
got
here.
some questions?
Yeah, we got a whole bunch. Yeah, the Titan was a bit of a slow death. I don't disagree with that comment.
They tried really hard with the second-gen Titan.
They did.
Like, they did, even on our side, the journalist side, even the trips they took us on and the way they tried to market that truck, they really moved away from selling it to Joe construction worker, and they really tried to sell it to Joe the fisherman. Like, they really went for that lifestyle thing, which is fine. Obviously, everyone plays in that segment, but it just didn't really work for them. They were really kind of fishing for answers on how to move Titans, and yeah, it just never worked. So it did feel like that kind of slow death.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of our comments tonight and questions are all price related. So right off the hop here, I'm currently saving for my first vehicle. With the way the used car market is, would it be smarter to make a payment or to try to find a used car that seems best? It's tough right now. The one thing I will say from the dealership end of things, it's turning. There is a turn coming. We are starting to see inventory again from new car. Used car, therefore, will start to cool off because we have options for people. Do I think it's necessarily the time to run right out and buy something new? It's never a bad thing per se, especially if you're in that position. However, if new car supply becomes more abundant, then it will drive used car prices back to where they should be. And trust me, I'm waiting for that too, because there's been a few come through that I wanted to purchase. Our parents are currently looking for a car, and the prices of garbage are through the roof, and it's just driving me nuts. So there is a correction coming. It can't stay the way it has been. So if you can sit on your hands a little longer, I think that's the way to go, but you're not gonna get yourself in trouble to go out and purchase something new today.
Yeah.
if you can find it.
Yeah, you know you're getting a new product, right? But that's it. You also might end up paying over sticker. Yes, people in Canada, I saw someone mention dealers are charging over sticker here too. We've heard those stories on lots of different vehicles.
We have.
Ford Mavericks especially.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to watch out for that too, and do your best not to pay over, so that no one else has to pay over. Okay, what else? Yeah, someone mentioned, I think the Titan sales issues have a lot to do with Nissan's corporate issues. And yeah, Nissan as a whole is definitely struggling. So I don't remember the announcement. I think it was a year ago now. They cut 13 nameplates, if not more than that.
Yeah.
So they've been looking to trim fat as everywhere they can. And Titan is kind of an obvious one in North America. And then everything else they've been redesigning. You know, even the Frontier, right? They did it on the cheap. They kept everything they possibly could and just touched it up where they needed to. Same with the new Z sports car. So yeah, Nissan's not in a good way. We'll see. They're pivoting to electric like everyone else. They've been there for a long time with the Leaf too. So you'd think they'd have a leg up. We'll see as a company where they end up going.
When will GMC reveal the Sierra EV? I mean, we've seen Silverado EV. They're
Right.
already taking pre-orders for it.
Yes.
So, save for a grill and a couple of bits and pieces, I don't believe it's not out, is it?
And it's not out, no, but
No.
I thought we heard something about it, so I'm just looking up here because I thought GM did mention that they're going to reveal it. It's got to be soon.
It's got to be soon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be, as it always is, it's not going to be too far off what the Silverado looks like, but hopefully let's say by the end of summer at the very least, I'd imagine.
Yeah, never mind. I thought we had an official look at when we were going to see the truck.
Oh, while Steve's looking for that,
Yeah.
we'll keep digging in here.
Yeah, because I do want to see it. The Chevy looks cool. Yeah, they've teased the all-electric Sierra pickup truck.
Just the front end.
Yes, but nobody said when it's going to come. Oh, the truck will be revealed next year. There you go.
Okay.
And this was in 2021, so that was in December 21. So hopefully
we
by
should
the
see
end
it.
of this year.
We'll
by
have
the
seen
end
it.
of this year, we should have seen
But
it.
that was GMC's website?
Correct.
On GMC's website, there is a small teaser that shows you the front end it looked like.
Right.
So if you want to check that out, it's on their website right now.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, and then Steve, this
Yeah.
one's for you if you're
Sure.
ready.
Hit me.
You can smack talk or befriend and be as nice to them as you like. But here we go. Ahem. Your thoughts on how the TfL Alaska road trip will go with the Ford Lightning? I think they might spend as much time charging as they do driving.
Yeah, that's certainly the problem. I mean, everyone saw that we did it first. We went up to the Arctic Ocean.
We were first.
In April. And we kept to Canada, of course. They're going to go to Alaska, back into the States.
Yeah.
But the one thing I was impressed at is they're going to go all the way through British Columbia, and there was actually good charging networks all the way into northern BC. Now, once you cross from BC into the Yukon, into Northwest Territories,
Yeah.
they basically went away. We saw a couple of chargers.
Couple in the Yukon, but not many.
I'm thinking Alaska's maybe a touch better, but I don't know for a fact. So yeah, I do think they're going to spend a lot of time charging though, because if you can't get to the station, you got to charge it off the other truck. That's not going to be a fast charge, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of sitting around and waiting, and a lot of Roman yelling at Andre to get to work. But you know what? I think it'll go. I think they'll do it absolutely. And then who knows? We might be surprised to see what the charging network
Or
is.
it becomes just impossible to do.
Also
that would
possible,
be interesting
I
to
guess.
see.
Yeah, because at a point, we ran into this too. It's like we don't have unlimited times to go do these trips. They're going to pick this date to this date, and then all of a sudden, if you're on the road realizing, hey, we're going to go 4 days over, well, then you might have to just bail on it. I don't think that'll happen. I know the guys; they're going to plan really well. They're smart dudes. I think they'll put it together, but we'll have to wait and see, right?
Like you mentioned, though, I am really interested to see what the infrastructure is like, because this is everybody's big fear, and it's like the very first comment we get when we talk to anybody about EV trucks, especially because the truck guy right away goes, well, what do I do when I'm out in the boons? Well, they're going out in the boons with the electric truck, so kudos to them for doing it. And this, I think, should lay some mainstream fears to rest.
Sure.
Because the one thing I really liked in BC was you're cruising along, and every 30 to 50K, there's a small rest area, especially on the more rural highways.
Yeah.
And there are 2 porta potties, a garbage can, the obligatory moose or bear, and then a charging station. It was hilarious. It was such a weird thing to see in this parking lot in the middle of nowhere. Washroom, beautiful, gorgeous scenery, charging station. So,
and we've talked about it a little bit too. It is somewhat, I don't want to lose my convenience when I get an electric vehicle. And then on the flip side, I think everyone has to shift their mindset a little bit to exactly what you're talking about. Well, I'm going to get out and take a picture of the woods, and hopefully a bear comes out and have a snack and, hang out for 20 minutes rather than just trying to be in a rush. Which, again, frankly, when we did our trip, we were hammering down. We were absolutely in a rush. We were not looking to conserve fuel whatsoever. And that would be different in the EV too, right? I'd be driving that thing real gingerly because you want it to go as far as possible. So there is a different mindset too there, just driving the electric truck, right? So yeah, again, it'll be interesting, and I think it'll be fun. I wish I could go. They're gonna love it up there. It's
there
cool.
You go. That's us saying, hey TFL, if you want to bring Steve on for a collab,
there you go.
He's on board.
Yeah, let me know, guys. I'd fly out.
Alrighty. In Canada, are dealers allowed to do markups? That's a fun topic.
I guess I don't know all the laws. As far as I know, they do. We've certainly heard from buyers saying it happens. I don't know if there's laws against it or not. I guess you would have to look it up. I'm not sure.
I don't think there's a law against it. I think at the end of the day, if you agree to pay it, if you're willing to give it to me, it's not stealing. I think that's the rule of thumb.
Yeah, and it's funny. I saw someone else mention in here that Ford has been cracking down on dealers, and they have been cracking down on dealers with the Lightning, trying to make sure that the dealers don't, flip it for crazy money. And then alternatively, they've also been making buyers sign contracts that say they won't buy the truck and flip it because there's so few trucks right now, and Ford is worried about that. So it's almost like with the GT. When you bought a Ford GT, you couldn't flip it either, and that's what's going on with the Lightning right now too, because there's so few of them, and people are being very predatory, and there's money to be made there, right? Yep. But, capitalism, man. If the money's there and people are going to spend it, people are going to try to make it. It's one of these tough situations where I hate hearing about dealer markups, and then it's like, well, if the dealer made all that money, good for him. He's in business. Yep. So it's a tough situation. I am happy to hear the automakers cracking down on it, though. I think they should try to fight it. They should do something, because if they do let the dealers just absolutely run wild, then things get out of control. And, they got to rein them in a little bit. So I'm happy that they're obviously paying attention very closely to what's going on with sales and after sales, right?
Do we think that GMC and Ram will raise the stakes with a new hybrid small pickup to compete with the Maverick? Yes.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to get into that market.
I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I think everything's going to get into that market. It's funny, I didn't have Maverick sales on the chart that I pulled, but Maverick has been doing well so far. They've been sold out. So anyone else looking over the fence, General Motors and Ram included, have to be saying, why aren't we doing that, right? It just makes sense. As cars all go away too, like if someone wants to go buy a sedan or a small car, there's so few options, if any, now, that now you go, oh, well, there's a small truck, right? And it's super efficient, and it's a hybrid maybe, or front-wheel drive. So do I have a sense for timing? No, we haven't heard anything. And once again, everyone's pouring so much money into their electric trucks right now, but I can see Maverick competitors in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't see why by 24 we don't have something from Ram and from GM. I know in Ram's case, there's an international truck that could work well. GM has some small international stuff too, so that's always the thing too. Maybe they bring in their trucks they sell in South America, which are small trucks. So we'll have to wait and see. But until they do it, Ford's just going to own that market, and the Maverick's a great little truck. So
It is. That is a great teaser for talking about all these questions we've got about prices. Is the market ready? And I'm asking this in a general sense to you guys and as well as you. No one asked this question. Is the market ready for the cheap, bare bones, no options, small pickup? Because, everything is fully loaded. And I did the same thing when I bought my new truck, and you've done the same thing when you've bought vehicles, is you go in and you're like, it's only another $1,000 for all this other stuff.
Sure.
That's the fancier. But that's the problem. Every time everybody goes in, I really want the heated steering wheel. I really want that. Does anybody want to go back to no power options? No, I'm not saying no power options, but the absolute bare minimum. Power windows, air conditioner, radio, basic. To get into that truck package, like, I mean, let's say you pick a brand. If they brought in a truck, a small Maverick-sized truck to market that you could get into for $20K, under $20K, just under, is the market ready for that? Is there enough people for it? Sure. And just based on the feedback I'm seeing tonight and the things we talk about almost every week for the past 6 months, it seems to me like there are people out there that would be interested.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, we always talk about trucks getting bigger and thirstier. Now, all of a sudden, fuel prices are shooting up. And don't forget, the Maverick does start right there at $20,000. So Ford's already there in the States, anyways.
In the States, I was going to say not here.
No, that's correct. But I don't know how many of those trucks there actually are. That's always the real question. Is sure it's there, but is anyone actually building it? Probably not. They're probably all much more loaded up than the base trucks. Yeah, I don't know though. You're right about. I think we're ready for more small trucks. However, we definitely skew more towards more options and features these days. Every time we talk to engineers, we always do it too. We're like, we want regular cab vinyl floor trucks, and they're always like, nobody buys those. That's just the reality. They hear it on YouTube in the comment section and from guys who love trucks like us, but nobody actually purchases those. So. I guess, like I said, I'm doing a twofold answer here of yes, I think we're ready for more small trucks, but no, I don't think all those base bare bones trucks are where we're going to end up. We're going to end up with small $30,000 trucks, which is probably what most the Mavericks are selling for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In my head, I figured if somebody could bring one to market that was cheap enough, but yeah, if nobody will buy it, then it's all our own fault, basically.
Yeah.
We can complain about it, but it's all our own fault.
Once again, that's capitalism, right?
Like, yeah, I like an air-conditioned and heated seat. I'm not going to lie about it.
No, and I like roll-down windows. And again, having the roll-downs and having a bench seat up front, like, there's something to be said for that. And it's nice that those options are out there. And I do wish the automakers would push them more. Because there's also no doubt, and this is maybe obvious, but they're pushing us into those more expensive models. Yeah. Like, when I bought my minivan, the one drop-dead feature I had to have was Bluetooth. I'm like, I need Bluetooth. But of course,
legally, we need it.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to get it. You can just not talk on the phone. I'm like, no, I like talking on the phone in the van. I need Bluetooth, but of course, Bluetooth is not a standalone thing. It's in a package where you got to step up, right? And that's how they get you. So it goes both ways. That we want more, and the automakers recognize it, and then they suck you into these packages where you probably only want one thing, but you're getting all these things, and that's how they also make money. Those bastards.
Yeah, yeah, that's the truth. Okay.
All right, let's just hold for 1 second, Matt.
Sure, what's up?
Nothing, we keep rolling.
Oh, sorry.
What do you see? I appreciate lots of questions tonight, guys. Thanks for weighing in.
A lot of chats. When are we getting a hybrid Tundra non-TRD Pro?
So soon, actually, we have a TRD Pro coming because we did the TRD Pro to the Arctic, but we haven't had a TRD Pro at our place. So we're going to bring a TRD Pro to Ironwood next week, and we're going to run it off-road. We're going to do some towing and probably some payload testing and stuff. And then I want to, if you watch the video we just dropped today, I did a best-case scenario fuel economy video with a regular non-hybrid Tundra, so we'll repeat that. But anyway, to answer your question, the week after that, we're getting a capstone. So that'll be cool. We'll get the luxury model.
And that's the hybrid?
That's also a hybrid.
Yeah, that'll be cool then.
Yeah, and then there's at least one other Tundra as well. They just added to the fleet that's available to us that, off the top of my head, I can't remember. But we'll test it for sure.
So maybe we do a redo of the fuel economy video with the fully loaded hybrid.
Yeah, it makes total sense, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I want to see actually what I want to do with that Tundra hybrid is go into the city. Like, I want to drive downtown Toronto and just cruise around for a while and see, because that was our sense for it when we tested the two directly, was that on a road trip, you're not going to see a difference because you're on the highway, both engines are just running. Around town, though, that hybrid loves to turn the engine off. It loves to coast into stoplights. I think that cruising around town, the hybrid could actually get really good numbers. So, yeah, we do have hybrid Tundras coming up.
Good.
To answer your question in a long way.
So apparently in Europe, dealers have laws that they can't do markups.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. I think it makes sense.
Would be smart.
Actually, if I'm honest, and I think a lot of people know this too, I like the idea of direct sales. I think it's the one thing that Tesla absolutely got right when they came out, is getting rid of the dealer model. I'm sorry to any dealers watching. I understand that it's a livelihood for thousands and thousands of people, but the dealership model feels outdated. It doesn't feel like we need dealers anymore. You're going to need service centers. That's never going anywhere.
Yeah.
But the whole middleman, why do I need that middleman?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of brands, I mean, look at the Tesla model. Just go online, order it, add to cart, pay for it.
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking Volkswagen's going to do the same thing with the Scout brand.
Yeah.
Volkswagen dealerships have already voiced their concerns, saying, hey, you mentioned Scout, you're going to have some kind of new fancy sales technique. What is it? And that's what people think they're going to try
and
to do.
Lightning, even, has been teased to go almost dealerless. Which is interesting.
It's
almost.
Like, it seems that the brands are using electric as like almost like a, hey, it's all new and all EV and direct sales. Like they don't really go together, but they're using it as a way to pivot to direct sales.
Exactly. All right, so Martin Mendoza. This is not a question. It's the letter Z with 9 question marks after it. So we're going to talk about this because we just did a Z or Z R2 video.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about where we live and why we say it.
Well, of course, all the Canadians know we say Z. We don't say Z here in Canada. I will admit, though, Matt, that since I began in this business, I've always worked for U.S. outlets.
Yeah.
Until now, basically. So even at TFL, right? So I kind of trained my brain into saying Z. And I will admit, sorry, Canadians, that Z does sound cooler. Like, I think ZR2 sounds better than ZR2. So in the video, I actually go back and forth. And I don't do it on purpose. I'm not thinking about doing it. My brain is very confused across the border. So I go back and forth between Z and Z. But I try to say Z to stick with my heritage.
I find it hilarious because every time we do a Chevrolet video with that designation in a truck, we get these comments. In droves, we get these. No other videos. Nobody ever says, oh, you said A. There's no other comments about our Canadianness, Canadianese, except this one.
The Z's stand out.
So yes, that's why we say it. Sorry, not sorry. At all.
There you go.
Gladiator, Mojave, or Rubicon for an Overlander?
Rubicon. Mojave.
Mojave, okay.
I'm probably
you go Rubicon. I have no experience with them. That's why I'm directing
it
at you.
I mean, Mojave is or Mojave, either way. It is the high-speed package. It's the desert. It's named after the desert because that's what it's built for.
Yeah.
Rubicon is all about crawling over anything you put in front of it. You don't think about overlanding in high speed. You don't think about having your rooftop tent and your truck loaded up and flying across the desert at 60 miles per hour. So for those reasons, you want the one that'll climb better. I think if overland is your purpose, the Rubicon is going to serve you better.
TFL jumped in here to rip on us. It is not Z. It is not Z. You can say Z.
Yeah, we all know it's Z.
You used to pay him to say Z.
Hey, let's give a quick clap for Dave, too. Thanks, Dave. He donated us $5.
Thanks, buddy.
We appreciate you, Dave. And I think Dave had a question up here, too.
Oh, where? I just said
So Dave, first of all, he asked a question of TFL, so we'll put it out to them because they're watching. Is TFL going to tow a trailer? I hope so.
They're still watching. They just commented, take a trailer, guys.
Yeah.
And switch it back and forth between the two trucks. I'd be really curious to see that range change, especially in that terrain up there with the altitude and it would be nuts to see how much more challenging that drive would be.
For sure. And watch out for the dust. That's what we learned in our trailer. We had our little gear trailer that was packed full of dust and mud and everything, but inside, everything we owned was just dusty. Keep your camera gear in the cab.
We actually, when we stopped after our first stretch of the dust, we got to the hotel, everything was covered. We actually went in and we sweet-talked one of the housekeepers into giving us about a dozen or more heavy-duty industrial garbage bags that we then wrapped everything in the trailer with, in addition to all the duct tape we put on the outside. But, I'm still beating dust out of things that I've unpacked from
my
that
luggage
trip.
is definitely still dusty with Northwest Territories dust.
Yeah. All right, so Dave also asked, what's the deal with parts pricing in Canada? Just order brakes from the U.S. for $350 with shipping. It's still cheaper than any supplier here. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
It's everything in Canada, it seems.
Parts, we don't really have necessarily a parts shortage at the moment. We've certainly had shipping issues. I know, again, from the dealership side of things, I've had extensive waits for certain parts, but those are all typically specialty things. If you're just trying to order things like brakes, filters, the more day-to-day type replacement stuff, they seem to be pretty keeping up with it, keeping up with demand. It's when you get into specialty items. I know once or twice I've had to order a computer or something for a car, and I've been waiting weeks on end, or just the ticket comes back and says date indefinite. So a few items, but typically more on the electronic side. If you're just looking for brakes and stuff. Now, is that to say that dealers don't mark them up? Of course they do. Dealers, I've worked for 3 different brands now since I became a tech. I've worked for Toyota, Honda, Hyundai. And every brand has its own thing. We get a list price at the dealer, and then they suggest a price, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the dealership has to sell it for that. Put it in perspective. You call one dealer and ask for brake pads and rotors for your, 2020 Honda CR-V. Call another dealer and ask for the same thing, as long as it's within a reasonable amount of driving distance to you, and just see, is it dollars and cents the exact same? No, it's not going to be. I live in the Midland, Ontario area, and oftentimes we order parts from other dealers out of Toronto because they're getting bulk buy discounts. They can sell it cheaper because they get it cheaper. So look around, find the best deal. You don't have to just take what's told to you. It's the same as anything else. It's not stealing if you give it to me. But do your research. There's no reason why you can't find a better price.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we keep saying about cars too right now, right?
Yeah. All right, I think that was all that Dave asked.
Yeah,
I want to make sure we covered that.
Yeah, appreciate it again, Dave. So I got a question teed up here. So Ryan asks us, Tundra TRD Pro, Ram Rebel, GM ZR2 or AT4X, or F-150 Tremor, all around the same price. What are you guys going with? So I'll get to my answer, but let's tee it up. Next week, I was planning this exact comparison.
Oh, yeah.
Sadly, the Rebel fell out, but we are going to compare now a TRD Pro to a Rebel. Sorry, a TRD Pro to a Tremor. Yeah, so we're going to have those 2 trucks next week, so watch for that video. But if you're asking me of those 4 today, what I'm buying, it's a ZR2. And I mean, it's the truck I've been in most recently. We were just in a Tremor. We're in the TRD Pro bunch. I haven't been in the AT4X yet. Again, we're getting one of those in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that as well. The ZR2, though, of all those trucks, to me, is the most livable day-to-day truck while also providing the most off-road competence. Like, it's really good off-road, and then to drive it around like a normal Silverado, it's no big deal. The biggest issue with it we found was it squats quite a bit. It squatted more than the Tremor, let's say, but that's okay. I can live with that. It still towed the trailer fine. So yeah, of those 4, I'm going ZR2.
Yeah, I mean, I admittedly have always said that I'm a bit of a Toyota fanboy, and I spent a lot of seat time in that TRD Pro, and I've driven the ZR2, the ZR2, ZR2Z, ZZZ. I've driven it, and it's a great truck. You're right. On-road, off-road, it's awesome. It has a lot to offer in both arenas, but I love that TRD Pro. We spent a lot of hours in it.
TRD Pro's got more jam, man. That hybrid, when you put your foot into it, is ridiculous.
It was comfortable.
The 6.2 is good, but the Tundra's crazy.
Comfortable, quiet. I mean, we were cruising on roads that were designed to be driven at 60 kilometers an hour, and more than once I glanced down and I was doing 140 to 150. And I was just, I better slow down, because it's a dust storm behind me.
It was fun on that gravel road. There's no doubt about that. All those gravel roads, but on the Dempster especially.
So yeah, for the money, for your pick. Oh, and then at the end of the day, I think the other answer there too is, what are you using it for? Are you driving around town all day long?
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Are you towing the odd trailer? Are you working with it? If you're off-roading, consistently, yeah, I'd say ZR2 actually. After spending a little bit of time in it there last week, ZR2 off-road might be better than that Tundra.
It's tough. It's tough. We're going to get that Tundra next week and really beat on it. So, someone said test the hybrid on the 401. We can do that too. I'll go up and down the 400. But again, the hybrid's not about the highway, right?
Yeah, hybrid is not about highway. And I've had this argument, and I've actually got in near fist fights with salespeople at when I used to work at a Toyota store, because they would sell somebody a hybrid, a Prius, a whatever it might be, to commute to work down the 401. And I said, no, you're not gaining anything. You'd be better off spending $20K less and buying a base model or at least a decently optioned Corolla. You're going to get the same fuel efficiency on the highway. Hybrid is not about highway. Plug-in hybrid, taking that electric range and not using the gas engine for a while, absolutely, you're saving. But straight up regular gas electric hybrid, not for highway commuting as far as savings goes. If you have a small stretch of drive, say on the highway, couple, let's call it 20K on the highway, and then the rest is an in-town, kind of snake your way into the office, yeah, you're going to save a ton. If it's just get on the highway, drive for an hour, get off the highway, do it every day, you're not saving.
Doesn't do it.
That's just the truth. Like, sales guys are going to tell you are, you're not.
Yeah, that's why it's always about how you use it. Anytime we get buying questions, it's always, well, you got to give me exactly how it's going to be used, right, to answer the question the best.
Yep.
We got a question a little bit further up. DT's Vlog asked us, any news on the 2023 Ram 2500? Will you guys upgrade the one you have now? The first answer is no. I haven't heard anything specifically. The one tidbit we have on Ram HDs is they talked about in 2025 how they're thinking about hydrogen. That's kind of exciting, right?
Hydrogen combustion, specifically, right?
I thought it was like hydrogen. It would act as a
Fuel
generator.
cell?
Yeah, fuel cell.
Okay.
I thought it was fuel cell.
I read hydrogen combustion, but that might have been a different thing. Anyway,
It's been a while. Either way, it's going to use hydrogen to drive,
Yes.
which is exciting. I don't have any other specifics on the truck, though. As for the upgrade, this is a great question, and I don't know if Dad's watching. He's at home right now. Hopefully he is, but he's falling into the trap that so many people who buy trailers fall into. Him and my mom bought a trailer. My mom retired, and then 1 year later, they're like, we need a better trailer. We need a bigger trailer. We need more stuff. And they've already went and bought another trailer. So I keep telling him he needs to now buy a bigger truck. His truck today is just enough, but it's not like overwhelmingly enough. So I want him to get a 3500. I keep bugging him about it. You guys bug him about it too. It's also good for the channel to show it off. So if they do upgrade it, we'll bug him enough, and maybe we'll get him to get a new truck. But no, it's not in the plans right now. Dad does love his 2500. He did have some issues with it, though, just recently in the last couple of weeks, and that's something we're going to put up in a full video. I'm going to his house tomorrow, and we're going to shoot a full video, so stay tuned for that one, too. Not huge things, but a couple little problems. I hate to say this, but mostly dealership problems.
buckle up, Brampton Chrysler. I don't even care. I'll call you out because it's nonsense.
It's dealership
I
problems.
work at a dealership. That's nonsense, guys.
Yeah, more so than it's problems with the Ram.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that one as well.
So someone told me to slap the U.S. out of you.
Yeah, I
Followed
know.
immediately by light a Canadian blunt.
Sorry, Canadians. that and the blunts for later once the camera's off.
Yeah.
Someone did ask if we'll ever compare work bands, and that is something we did in the past. The Canadian Trucking Challenge for at least 1, if not 2 years.
I think if you scroll back through the content, it is like buried, but it's in there.
Yeah. Because that's a super underserved part of the market from a media perspective. There's not a lot of guys who are willing to do that stuff. So yes, I would love to test more work bands. The truth of that is that they're just not something the automakers ever want to give us, at least not often. Yeah. Like, we get a list that says, hey, here's what you can borrow from Ford this month, and it's never a Transit. All those vans we've ever gotten, we've had to kind of specially request them. Well, it's not to say we won't do them. We're open to it. We want to do it. It's just, like I said, our access to them isn't always, right there.
And when they do get them, they're new. And we get them, we see them. I mean, I think the best year for vans we had 8 different models the 1 year. And that's great. But then, as you may know, they're a work-purposed vehicle. They don't change much. So after that first year, we had them all. We tested them all. We loaded weights in the back. We towed trailers. We drove them around empty. We drove them in town, highway. Yeah. We did everything we could think to do that the average consumer for that vehicle would do. But then the next year, there's nothing new.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, look at the Chevrolet Express.
The Express
that they've been building unchanged for, 15 years?
It's like the best vehicle on the market. It just keeps going. No one talks about it.
Yeah.
It just sells. They never touch it.
They're cheap. They're reliable. They just go.
Exactly.
And I think that's the same case with Transit, with Ram Van, ProMaster, with Mercedes, with the Metris.
Yeah.
I mean, Nissan killed the NV2000. That one's gone.
Yeah, Nissan's gone. But the one exciting thing don't forget is, again, electric. The Transit EV is on the road. That thing's already out there, or the e-Transit.
Yeah.
So that's something I would like to do, is test the electric ones. But you're not wrong that the vans don't change all that often.
Yeah. So if you Google the Canadian Truck King Challenge, the original, the antithesis if you will, of all this.
Yeah, it's the beginning.
Yes,
Yeah.
and work vans, you will find some stuff out there lingering in the bowels of the internet. They are out there.
That's fair. That is fair. What else? NL Ken said the TRD Pro should have had a 2-inch lift. Yeah, I'll give you that. Maybe even bigger tires. And bigger tires is a funny one because I know brands are all fighting for fuel economy, but now we have 35s, we have 37s, 35s. Kind of feel like a basic line of entry these days in off-roading, so I would have liked to seen the upgraded tires, but they're not going all in like Ford does.
Ram still sells the classic. Yeah, it's kind of like the Express van. They're not talking about it, but they just keep selling
and
it.
we mentioned the Ram sales. That's always built in, and that's another story where we want to cover the classic more. Ram has not been forthcoming in saying, yeah, here's a classic, because I don't know if they have them sitting around. But that's so interesting, because that strategy of keeping the old model and selling it at the same time as the new model, it's not a new idea, but I can't think of any other model that's done it for so long. Usually it's a 1 or 2 year carryover. It's been since 2019, late 2018, that the Ram Classic has been selling next to the DT, the new model. So when do they get rid of it? And then when the new Ram comes out, does the DT just become the Classic?
Just become the Classic.
And the old one finally gets retired? It's wild.
It's a solid business model.
It's obviously selling trucks. And all of those classic models, it's the old story of the tooling's paid for, the plant is just running. And when you walk in the dealer says, hey, man, you can get a Hemi in this truck or a Hemi in this truck, but the Classic's probably 10 grand less, if not more, right?
If not more.
And it's basically the same engine. So that's one of those things where if the new Ram had a whole new powertrain strategy, then maybe it wouldn't work. Now, once the Hurricane comes out, will the Classic get the Hurricane? No idea, right? Or will that maybe be the death of the Classic finally? But we're going to have to find out. The Ram Classic is interesting. I love that truck. It's an interesting story.
I wanted to talk to Mike directly. Mike called me out and said I'm an engine replacement tech for Hyundai. Yes. Engines. Engines on engines on engines on engines. I mean, it's nice. I mean, we've built it in as a basic service. Every 6 oil change, you get a free engine. It's cool. Engines for life.
That is funny. That Hyundai is so forthcoming.
It's a weird. It is a weird
warranty department.
It's a weird business model coming from the Toyota and the Honda world, where if there's a problem like that, we fix it. Hyundai's like, no, just keep throwing these in. It'll be fine. You're basically renting one. You're renting an engine every 40 or 50K.
So we got one from Daryl. He's asked if he thinks we'll get a North American version of the Chevy Montana small pickup from Brazil. And that's what I was talking about. GM has that. Ram has, I think it's called the Ram 700 or
D50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's different names in different markets. Anyways, I don't know, I guess, actually. Now that if you really think about it, Ford designed us a North American truck. Ford didn't go to the other markets and say, hey, we'll take this and make it North American. And it might actually benefit these brands more to design something here for us, bringing in the world truck and then retrofitting it for safety and for crash. That can be expensive too. Yeah. So, I don't know. And then the other question is, if those trucks have already been on the market for a couple of years in those markets, they show up in North America, it's already old engineering. So I even said it's a possibility, but my gut tells me that if these brands are going to jump in with Maverick, they're going to do it from a clean sheet of paper. It's just a guess, but it's the way I kind of feel like makes the most sense if you sat down and think about it. And if they want to chase Ford, they got to do something, impressive rather than just bring in the old stuff, I think.
Yeah, a good point here from the Mechronicle, if I got that right. Mm-hmm. If you're stuck in traffic 1 hour each way on the DVP, then yes, the hybrid does help. Yes.
Fair.
But basically, you're just taking city driving and putting it on the highway. But you are right. Absolutely. I used to own a Prius C, and I remember getting stuck in traffic in Toronto one time, and I did... I was sitting in traffic for an hour and a half, and I averaged less than 2 liters per 100K with that little car. It was great.
Amazing. Mom just weighed in and said that Dad has no money for a new truck. So our mom is watching, and she's making sure Dad doesn't get a new one. But Mom, we need it for the YouTube channel.
We need it, Mom. But we need it.
These are the conversations we have in our house.
I bet if Otis asks for it, you'll buy it.
That's my son. That's Nana's grandson. So we got another one. I think this is interesting. Nate asked, what's one vehicle that you did not want to review or thought it was not worth covering?
Oh.
And the one that comes to mind Oh, geez, I'm going to get the name wrong now. Was that little Buick subcompact crossover?
That's literally the one I was about to rip on.
What's the name of that tiny Buick? I can't even remember the name.
Well, Steve looks up the name because I can't remember it either. The Cross Tourism. Anyway, we did a little review on that little Buick with him and I and Dad sandwiched in this tiny little car, 3 cylinders, ran like a bag, had all kinds of terrible things, not terrible things, but not nice things to say about it. The Encore.
Yeah.
And I used that as our benchmark for a bad video. Because it didn't do very well as far as views, as far as analytics went. It was kind of like we'd throw up something else. We would try a new format. Like we would try, say, for example, our all-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive video. And it was like, all right, that was okay. It had some following. It did okay. It did better than the Buick. So, can't be that bad.
And yeah, that's it. Nobody wanted to watch it, and we didn't want to review it. Right? It's not an exciting vehicle whatsoever.
And it's not in our vein.
Yeah, of course.
There are people out there that it appeals to. Don't get me wrong. If you're that guy, and if GM's watching, we're covering our asses right now real quick. If you're that guy, and you like that car, then yeah, it was not a bad little car for what it was. But it's not for us. Look at the size of us, and look at the things we do. It's just not our cup of tea.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
What else? So this is a decent question too. What's a good first-time buyer truck? I can't decide. Again, it's a bit too general, but if I had to tell you a first-time truck, if you're buying a mid-sizer, go ahead and get a Tacoma. If you're buying a half-ton, go ahead and get an F-150. And I say that based on the popularity of those trucks. There's so many out there. There's so many parts out there. There's so much information out there that if you're getting into trucks for the first time, and I'm going both segments, that's what I lean towards. But that's without any other knowledge of what you might do with your truck. That might change the answer. But in general, first-time trucks, those are my thoughts.
I think, as well, first-time truck buyer, like Steve said, you're buying it for a reason. You're buying it for specific needs. But certainly consider older. And I say that because that's what I did. When I bought my first car, it was a nearly 30-year-old Dodge pickup because it was cheap, number one. Number two, reliable. Number three, I didn't know if I was going to like it. And this way, it didn't break the bank. I spent under $2,000. Now, given this is 20 years ago, I spent under $2,000. I drove the crap out of that thing. I ended up loving it. I got rid of it. That was stupid. But Dirt certainly looked to see something that's not going to kill it's not going to break the bank. That's my big thing. Don't buy something. Don't go out and buy the fully loaded Ford, F-150 Power Boost Limited $113,000 truck tomorrow, and then in a month you're like, oh, I didn't need this much.
Fair.
Go buy something small. Figure out if it's for you, then upgrade.
Yeah, that's a great point, right? Rather than starting off with way too much truck, maybe under truck yourself and then realize you need it, because too many guys go the other way. That's a very good point with your first buy.
For sure. Rob asked what kind of bikes I got. I like talking about my bikes.
They always come up. Why don't you ask about the stove? What model's the stove, man?
I don't even know. That's my wife's department.
This is truly a garage.
Sorry, we're remodeling the kitchen. This one is my Rad Rover, and that one back there is my Gen 3. So this is for my wife and I, and I only live 9 kilometers from work, so I ride my bike to work pretty much every day, unless it's raining, because I'm not cool like that. I'm not that intense. If it's raining, I drive. But every other day, I ride my bike. Have you seen the price of gas?
There you go. So Nismo Mike had a good point, which is that the NV, the Titan, and the Frontier could get their own brand that focuses on trucks and commercial vehicles, kind of like Ram Sprit from Dodge.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was saying earlier with the dealerships, and that would help to solve your problem. If you had a standalone dealer, or even if the Nissan dealer was kind of sectioned off and Nissan cars, and then over here's the Nissan truck brand, and the truck guys are, actually trained in selling trucks, I think that could have been part of the answer. Again, I think it's too late for that now, but I think that's a decent idea there, Mike. But yeah, too late for it now.
Yeah. I just saw a good one there. There we go. So Kevin Keenan says, living in the Kawarthas, how do you commute to work in winter and charge and keep warm? Well, so earlier when we were talking about EVs and charging and talking about the guy that says, hey, I live out in the boons. Hi, guy that lives out in the boons. I would say I want you to watch all our videos, but I would also say go check out exactly what TFL is doing right now. They're taking the truck out in the boons and showing you how it's livable out there. Now, I don't know where you live. I don't know how far you have to drive. but you charge your vehicle at home overnight.
Yeah,
You would be installing at the very least, a level 3 is out of the question typically, but a level 2 charger for your home base. You charge every night at home. You leave home charged up at 95%, never 100. That's another lesson you'll learn when you buy an EV. You leave home charged up at 95%. You have enough to get to work. You probably plug in at work, or if it's too far, you find a local level 3 charger to charge up to come home. And the cool thing about keeping warm is when your car is charging, you can just sit in it with it on, and it'll keep you warm. It's interesting. Hyundai offers a luxury relaxation seat for the driver's seat if you want, that you can sit there, recline, enjoy your time. Tesla does the same thing. A seat that lays practically flat so you can have a little nap, check out your phone, do all those fun things, have a little you time. Tesla especially, more so, I don't know the United States as well, but in Canada, where they position their superchargers, it's always around things.
Yeah,
They're never out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
they're always around attractions, shopping,
mall,
food,
restaurant,
whatever the case may be. So it just becomes a lifestyle amendment. Maybe your local charging station is in the same parking lot as a large grocery store. So you just get into the habit of, hey, I got to sit here for 20 minutes, 25 minutes on my way home from work. Well, hey, sweetheart, I'm going to pick up something for dinner every night, and we can just go on the fly. It just becomes a part of your life. It's an amendment to your life, I understand that.
Sure.
But it just becomes a part of your new normal. It's scary. It has changes for everyone, but it's coming.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So what else do we got? Shaylee's chimed in and said that she thinks it's good that Hyundai replaces the engines. And I think so too. Again, like, you've worked at a few brands now. Hyundai seems very willing to replace an engine, more so than other brands. So give them credit there.
From a
you shouldn't
corporate
need to
standpoint.
replace the engine in the first place, maybe.
From a corporate standpoint, they cover their products,
Yeah.
and that's better than what you would get elsewhere.
Okay, so we got some more detail here. First-time truck buyer as well. What's the better choice between a Jeep Gladiator Willys or a Ram 1500 Sport, specifically for an overland vehicle? So again, when the word overland comes into play, I like the idea of a midsizer more than a half-ton just from a size perspective. You're going out on trails. You want it to be smaller. You want it to fit. You also want to start with a lighter platform because overlanding is generally slapping a whole bunch of heavy stuff onto your truck. So starting with the lighter platform to begin with, you get a little bit more wiggle room there too. So for me, it's the Gladiator all day over a Ram for overlanding. And that's a Sport or a Rebel. Doesn't matter. I just like the smaller truck.
And at the end of the day, we all know that Jeeps, that's what they're for.
Yeah.
That's the market. And I mean,
That's what Mike just said.
As far as overlanding,
The Rams are just not meant for that, whereas the Jeeps are.
and as far as the overlanding, the aftermarket will get on the Jeep so much faster
True.
than the Ram.
Totally fair point. Yeah, absolutely. The Jeep is just going to serve you a bit better there. Yeah, I mean, we are winding down now, folks, so if you get your last questions in. One last one from John here. He just asked, you think there'll be parts availability for the Titan in 3 years? That's always a tough question, but I think so. Nissan, I don't think, is going anywhere.
I would have to verse myself on the exact wording, but a manufacturer must produce parts for an obsolete vehicle for up to, I want to say it was 15 years, but I don't remember. You'd have to check it out, but there is a certain statute, and I know this might be a Canadian thing. I'm assuming it's a global thing, and that's a Society of Automotive Engineers thing.
Yeah.
But so let's say, for example, pick any vehicle that has recently disappeared. Doesn't matter. I can't think of one off the top of my head. You have to keep building the brake parts, all the wearable components for that vehicle for up to 15 years, or have a reasonable stockpile of them that will last. That is what is legislated for every manufacturer for every car they build.
Fair enough.
Now,
So
after that
don't have
time
to
period,
worry.
like Dad wanted to buy, we had a tree come down, it snapped one of his mirrors off the 71, we had to find one at a flea market. At a certain point, they can't keep up with it, or they can't keep doing it. It's not feasible.
Sure,
but I do believe it's 15 years.
Gotcha. Okay, well, yeah, that's basically it for our questions. If we didn't get to you, like I always tell you, please send us an email. You can get us at hey@trucking.ca. I've kind of already hit on all of it, but we got lots coming up. We have TRD Pro versus TRD Pro versus Tremor.
Yep.
We have a couple side-by-side videos. I was riding Honda Pioneers and Kawasaki KRXs, so that's coming to the channel. We have more trucks. We're heading to the Woodward Dream Cruise in August. That's a lovely event over there in Detroit. It's one of our big first road trips with the whole family, which is going to be
That'll
fun.
be a fun one, yeah.
Yeah, we got lots of cool stuff coming. So come back in 2 weeks and we'll do this all again out here in the garage. And until then, I guess, keep on trucking.
If we're not here in 2 weeks, it's a busy summer. We're sorry in advance. Mike, thank you very much for that last second. Cheers to you, my friend.
Appreciate you, Mike. Thanks, man. Everyone else,
Thanks
have a
lot,
great
folks.
night.
All right.